All right, good morning, and thank you everyone for joining us for our call with D'Von Ellies. As always, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. We'll start with Tyler Donahue.
Dvon, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for your time. This was the first matchup in about a year, it feels like, where we saw the defense give up a few different, big plays and kind of have some lapses from our standpoint. What was Sunday like getting back in the facility, watching some film, and what kind of value do you think you guys take out of that Indiana matchup going into November?
It's a very humbling experience, coming off of I would say then into Indiana. There were just some things that we needed to be better on coming into Sunday. There was a lack of communication on some of those plays. And that was just great execution by Indiana and poor execution on our part. But we got it fixed as we always do. Um, that was just a moment of that was just an opportunity for growth for us.
Rich Garcella.
Dvon, how would you evaluate the run defense against Indiana? What could you guys have done better?
I think that falls on the defensive front, as it always does. I just think we could be more stout. Um, being more violent, just coming off a block. Um, just being better on our end, just with our technique and the way we're playing things inside on the run game. Um, and I think it just it starts and ends with us. So I believe the run game was a little shaky, but that's I'll always put that on us. That's always on the D line. So.
Greg Pickle.
Good morning, Dvon. What have you seen from Maryland during your early week film study so
They play very hard. They really want it. Um, they're a team that's going to go to the last of it. As you've seen in their previous games, they have a very mobile QB with two back there. They have really good running backs. They have great skill positions. And then up front, it's just going to be a battle. Up front they try to play hard. They come off the ball as they should. And they just scheme things very well. So yeah, I'm excited to get more into it as the week goes on.
Ben Gallen.
Devon, kind of narrowing down a little bit on that. What about the Maryland running game in particular stands out to you with the running backs that they have and how they've been able to utilize that this year?
Specifically with my guy Roman, he's a great back. They have tremendous backs. Um, their vision is very good. They see holes that open up well. It's just all going to be about gap sound, assignment sound this week. Um, they staying where you're supposed to be, being where you're supposed to be. Because if you make a mistake, they will make you pay for it.
Ronnie Collins.
Devon, a couple guys after the game mentioned communication as an issue, and I'm wondering what kind of things that take away from you when communication is lacking as a defense, and why does that happen from time to time?
We fall short as a defense. Cohesion and communication is the most important thing when you're talking about a top tier defense. When you lack that, there's just a lot of missteps that lead to bigger issues. If they slide somewhere, the tight end moves, you don't communicate it well. The defense isn't in the best possible position to stop the play. And what's the second half of your question again?
Sorry, why does that happen from time to time? It is because yeah, I guess that was kind of what
Yeah, and I mean honestly, it just with any defense, there are some pitfalls at times, um, but I just think we weren't all in tune in that moment, um, and so I think that it just happens sometimes. So I mean, honestly, we've worked past it, and we've grown from it. So yeah. won't be seeing the same thing again.
Frank Boudani.
Hi, D'Von. You mentioned growth a little bit ago. So this defense, is there more for us to see? Is there a better version yet of it to come? And I ask that because you have two of your tougher games still to play. You're coming off some mistakes, but so what does that growth look like? What can we see more from this defense?
Yeah, there's a lot more to be said for our defense. You know, even when we play well, there are still little mistakes here and there that could take us to that next level. And like we said before, you know, that communication piece is one of those growth aspects that you speak about. That's the difference, you know, between the best defense in the country and, you know, another defense. So I think in that aspect, just as far as just communication, and then we talk about it all the time, is the cohesiveness of our defense, just our ability to play together, trust each other. That's like our biggest strength. That's just who we are. We trust each other. We play hard, and we're very assignment sound. We communicate, and you know, all these things together lead to, you know, one of the best defenses in the country.
Johnny McGonigal.
Dvon, singling in on their quarterback Talia, you guys got to him quite a bit last season when they came to Beaver Stadium. What is the kind of the most challenging thing about trying to bring a player like that down? And how would you describe him as a quarterback, as a player that you guys have already studied in the past and are familiar with?
He's just a scrappy kid, you know. He makes the first man miss, and then he's always just looking downfield. You know, that's hard. That's hard for any defense to play against. You know, when you have a guy like him, you know, who can sit in the pocket and then run out of the pocket, and then keep his eyes downfield. You know, that's always going to be a challenge, just because he can make plays like that. You know, I'm sure you guys watched the O State game. He did it a bunch. You know, even with pressure in his face, he continued to move his feet, going. And over time, over the game, as the game continues, I think we just need to continue to press on. Mistakes are going to be made on both ends, and with him at quarterback, anything can happen. I think that's the greatest superpower.
Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Dvon, thanks for the time. So your hometown's about it's less than a half hour from College Park. So growing up, what are your memories of Maryland sports, namely football and basketball? And what is the expected family/friend turnout for you going to be Saturday?
Yeah, I don't have the best memories of Maryland, but my family will show out. They will be showing out this Saturday. So I'm really excited, being from the city, 20 minutes down the road. It's going to be very exciting. My whole family's looking forward to it. So it's going to be one for the books.
Millen.
Good morning. Earlier this year, you were named to the Warfel Trophy for your community service work. What have you been able to learn from those experiences traveling to Guatemala, and how have those experiences kind of helped you grow as a person?
It offered new perspective. Oftentimes in this game, I've been here for 5 years, so oftentimes you take a lot of opportunities, you take a lot of the things that you have for granted. And I think it just gave me a new appreciation just for everything that I do. Everything from just being able to go to the recovery room for the cold tubs and the hot tubs. Just like the little things, just being able to go out on the field and play the game that I love so free and just enjoying every minute of it. So I think perspective was just my biggest thing that I've gained from all of those experiences. You see so many kids who suffer with childhood illnesses and things of that nature. They don't get to experience playing in front of 100,000 people. So I just want to give them the opportunity to, um, have good experiences, have good relationships, relate to the players in some way, so that way they can at least, be beneficiaries of, everything that we do. So yeah, it's been great.
Tyler Donahue.
Dvon, you guys were shorthanded at defensive end last Saturday, and that meant a lot of work for Deni. It's a couple back-to-back games where he didn't leave the field much for your defense. What have you seen from Deni, Dennis Sutton, in that expanded role here, and what do you think he's done to prepare himself to step up with Chop and Amin unavailable?
He's a very dedicated individual. He takes his work very seriously. He's in there and he works. He's one of the hardest workers we have in that room. So I just felt like it was one of those like natural progressions. We're very next man up oriented. We're a very talented group of individuals in the defensive line specifically. And I think with Deni, he just fell into that role and he just fit it well. There was no misstep. There was no hesitation when stepping into that role. He kind of just took it on his own, did what he had to do. He continued to stay assignment sound. And like I said, he's one of the hardest workers in the room, so there was no lag when it came to his workload. So he's been doing a tremendous job, and I think he will continue to do a tremendous job. For being somebody so young and stepping into a role like that's huge. So proud of him, really.
Time for two more. Rich Garcella.
Dvon, a few minutes ago when Tony asked you about communication and mistakes, you said it won't happen again going forward. What leads you to believe that those kinds of mistakes won't happen again?
We've identified the issue. We've addressed it, and now we're moving forward. That's also another thing with our defense. Whatever issues we have, whatever mistakes we've made, we make it an emphasis for it not to happen again. We know our end goal. We know what we want to be. We know who we are. We know what we came to do. And so in order for that to happen, we have to, see those mistakes, see those issues, and move past it. And I think that's what our defense has done. And that's pretty much what we've been doing all year. Every game we've gotten better and better and better. And of course, there have been mistakes in this last game, but we've moved past it. That's just been happening all year. So that's how I know it's just gonna be one of those things that's happened. Like it happened. Okay, we understand why it happened. And now we move past it. So.
Final question, Daniel Gallen.
Dvon, it seems like the past couple of weeks we've seen Zane really come on at that defensive tackle position. What has enabled him, to kind of take this step forward that we've seen, and what does he bring with that body type and skill set?
It's just his dedication to the work, come in every day and it's a little incremental improvements. It's getting that 1% better every single day, whether it be from his strike, his hands, to getting off blocks. He's really stepped into that. He's really leaned into the process, which I think has helped him out tremendously, as you guys have seen in the last couple of weeks. And I think, and he's continuing to do so. So I think he will continue to make improvements as he continues to go on. This is his first year really like playing a lot, and he's made tremendous strides. So I think he'll continue to do that just with his drive and his want to and his need to. I think that's what's taking him over the edge. We have this, like I said before, we have a very competitive room. And so that competitiveness also pushes him too, pushes all of us to become better versions. And I think